Hey everybody, I want to teach you how to do something new called an in and out. Okay, we call them in and out. Beginning of the year, you might call them an input output, as it helps us sort of realize what's going on there and making the analogy of pretend like it's a machine. Okay, when do we use machines? We use machines in life when we want to have something, do something and repeat it the exact same way every time. Okay, so the exact same thing is happening every single time. It repeats it, and it saves a lot of time and labor, and it helps perfect when we make things. Anyway, uh, on to math input output machine. I have a machine here, and it's going to do the same exact thing to whatever I put in the machine. And I have a little tube here and there's an input. That's where I'm going to put something in. And the machine's going to make a weird noise and a little puff of smoke comes out. And then whatever I put in, it does something to it, then something else comes out. An example, if I put a 0 on this end of the machine, it's going to make that noise and spit out a little smoke, and then out is going to be a 3. A 3 comes out when I put a 0 in. Okay. Now, when I put a 1 in that machine, the machine doesn't care what you put in. It's going to do the same exact thing every single time. So I put a 1 in this machine. Again, it's going to make a weird noise, and out comes a puff of smoke. And now what comes out is a 4. Okay? Not a 3. When I put a 0 in, a 3 came out. When I put a 1 in, a 4 came out. What do you think is going to happen if I put a 2 in this machine? Okay. Again, think to yourself, the same exact thing is being done by the machine no matter what. When I put a 0 in, the machine did something and a 3 came out. When I put a 1 in, the 3 did the same, the machine did the same exact thing, but this time a 4 came out. Now I'm putting a 2 in. What do you think is going to come out? Give me a guess. If you guessed a 5 was coming out, you are correct. Okay, so what do you think will come out if I put a 3 in? Now I put a 3 in the machine. Again, the machine should do the same exact thing it did to the 0, the 1, and the 2, but what comes out after I put a 3 in? If you guessed 6, you are correct. Now we're going to get a little bit tricky. Now is when we are going to figure out if you know what the pattern is or if you know what the function is. Okay, because I want you to figure out what's coming out if a 5 goes in. Okay, now if you thought a 7 would come out, well, then you recognize the pattern. The pattern of the outs was 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I counted 3, 4, 5, 6, even your kid brother who's 5 years old would probably say 7's next, right? But if you look at the ends, I had 0, 1, 2, 3, and then I went to 5. If I put a 4 in, a 7 would have come out. But what happens if I put a 5 in? If you said 8, you are right. So now we're going to go to a 10 is going in. What is coming out? Now, some of you might think 9, right? But 9 doesn't come out when a 10 goes in. 9 comes out when a 6 goes in. Okay. And if you know that 13 is what comes out, awesome sauce, you're figuring it out. Now, here's the difference though. If you had to figure out that a 13 came out, by first figuring out what happened when 6 went in, and then what happened when 7 went in, and then 8 and then 9, you had to do all those before you can get your answer for 10, then you're still doing what's called the pattern. And I'd like for you to learn how to do the function. The function is like the Uno draw 4 wild card, right? It's something that's very valuable to have, right? To be able to figure out the function. Example is we're going up to 20. If I figure out the function, I can give you an answer right away for the 20 going in. If I only have the pattern, I first have to figure out what comes out when 11 goes in, then 12 and 13 and 14, all the way up to 19, and then I can figure out 20. Okay, so if you know that 23 is what's coming out, I think you're figuring out the function. And if that's the case, and we'll do these at the bottom of our in and outs, we figure out what happens if X goes in. Now, some people say, let me see, X, Y, Z, A, yeah, and they're trying to do something that letter. All X is what's called a variable. And it's a letter or a symbol that represents a number. We don't know what number that is, but whatever number it is, I can figure out what should come out. And that is really the function, and it's really what is this machine doing, okay? And a lot of you, what do you think that machine is doing to each of these numbers before it spits it out? And some of you figured out it's adding 3 to whatever went in. So 0 goes in, 3 comes out. What is 3? It's 0 plus 3. When 1 goes in, 4 comes out. What's 4? Well, it's 1 plus 3. When 2 goes in, 5 comes out. Well, what's 5? It can also be written as 2 plus 3. You might notice that I'm having plus 3 in all these. And that's really what's going on, right? So part of what comes out when X goes in is plus 3. Well, what is it? It's what I started with plus 3 more, right? Here is 0 plus 3. Here is 1 plus 3. Here is 2 plus. Well, this is going to be X plus 3. And that's my answer for what comes out if X goes in. This is how in and outs work, okay? First, you're trying to figure out if you can find a pattern, and then you're trying to figure out if you can make the jump and figure out what the function is. And if you get good at these, and they take a while to get used to, but if you get good at these functions, that's a big part of what will make algebra easier for you, okay? So I like to play with these. We'll have these in our warm-ups every once in a while, and they're fun puzzle type problems. And you know I like puzzles, and hopefully you have fun with them too, okay?